So many businesses today rely on their gut instinct or maybe their marketing department to define their customer base. But what if you could actually segment your customer base with precision using data? Today, we're diving into how SMBs can use quantitative data to move beyond personas and a marketing exercise and build truly actionable customer segments. So, what is the difference between a persona and a segmentation of your customers to begin with? So many businesses rely on personas, but segmentation is kind of the next level of refining that persona into an actionable segment. So, the key differences here: a persona is more of a qualitative assessment. It's a fictional representation of your ideal customer. Maybe that's tech savvy Sally, and Sally runs a tech company of $5 million in revenue, has 30 employees, and has venture capital backing. Tech savvy Sally. However, those assumptions are kind of based to some degree on qualitative feedback, on interviews, like who's the buyer in this situation? In this case, it's Sally, and she runs this type of company. Sure, you can have some quantitative inputs in that in terms of revenue range, employee count, things like that. But the marketing exercise is trying to create a fictional character to be able to market to. Who is our audience? Now, from a customer segmentation standpoint, a quantitative standpoint, we're trying to group customers based on real data. So, what are your customers' spending habits? What are their engagement levels? What are their usage patterns with your products? We're trying to create a data set that allows for measurable and repeatable actions. So, if tech savvy Sally interacts with your product in a certain way, she will be cohorted in a certain part of your customer segmentation that may actually differ than what the marketing team is looking at from a persona standpoint. What we try to do is use personas for storytelling purposes, for marketing purposes, in order to drive sales and other market-facing initiatives, whereas with retention, we're trying to use personas more for storytelling purposes, more for marketing initiatives and sales, but we're using segmentation for more of the retention strategy and analysis of how to continually engage and improve your customer experience. So, defining and cleaning customer segments can be a really challenging initiative. How do you have the right data to understand how to properly segment your customers? When we think about a segmentation approach here, we want it to be structured. It needs to be clear and needs to be driven by data. So, first, we need to identify meaningful attributes such as purchase frequency, average order value, feature usage, and then ensure that we're capturing that data in a really clean way. So, are we removing duplicates? Are we correcting errors in the data set that's coming into the database? And are we actually using standardized formats across all of our systems? So, an example of that could be in your Shopify, you have a certain SKU nomenclature that you use. It's actually different than what you see on the finance side. So when you're actually taking the customer data in terms of what product went out the door and to who, and you're mashing up these databases, you may not have congruence in the data that you're pulling. Now, the last piece here is utilizing cluster techniques or rules to assign customers into clear segments. So once you have really quality data on this, you can start to triage it apart in terms of the types of segments you want to be looking at. So, for instance, a SaaS company typically could segment users based on their engagement levels. Maybe you have power users that are logging in every single day. They're using advanced features. They are really diving into the full feature set of the product. And then maybe you've got occasional users. They log in weekly, but they really only use the basic functionality of the tool. And then you've got another segment of at-risk users. Folks that have signed up, have paid you, but also just haven't logged in and engaged with the platform in, let's say, over 30 days. So these three different buckets of customers could have very different customer personas from a marketing perspective, but for internal segmentation, we've got power users, occasional users, and at-risk users. Do you see how that starts to create a rhythm of understanding how you should better engage with your customers? The one-size-fits-all approach, the tech-savvy Sally, doesn't quite work here. And so we can't necessarily tailor our engagement to tech-savvy Sally just based on the persona data alone. What we can start to do is start to use CRM data and customer analytics tools in order to create a little bit more segmentation and rules that match the customer behavior. Now, how does customer segmentation actually reduce the noise? By nature of attributing behaviors, with the data, we're eliminating the guesswork that comes with customer targeting. So when we're looking at this data-driven segmentation, we're trying to reduce reliance on assumptions about customer intent and rather use the data to help us inform what the customer intent actually was. So we can start to identify behavioral trends that personas don't capture at all. This also allows for quality A/B testing and then start to measure campaign performance and adjustments as you move forward based on that customer segmentation. So similarly, if you're running a subscription-based fitness app and you're using that to target, let's call her health-conscious Hannah as a broad persona, after segmenting based on app usage, you may have discovered that really only 40% of your users watch pre-recorded workouts, only 30% engage in live coaching sessions, and 30% mix both but churn quickly because they don't have personalized engagement. So if you can start to create engagement strategies that are tailored to each of these segments and how they interact with your fitness app, you can start to look at how to improve retention by nature of creating a more personalized experience for those segments. Now, health-conscious Hannah may be really inclined to go with you in your fitness-based app because of your marketing, but you don't quite know how she's going to engage with the product as she dives in. So you have to create a personalized and tailored experience for her in order to keep her engaged. When we're starting to think about this segmentation for retention and retargeting, we're really leaning into that personalization instead of just relying on demographic data. You're using your own data that's captured in your tool to create a smarter rhythm moving forward. Now, when we start to implement on this and act on this, the segmentation data is really only useful if you take action on it, if you actually do something with it. So how do we start to think about using data segmentation and customer segmentation in your small business today? From a marketing standpoint, we can rethink how we do our personas based on more hyper-personalized offers that are driven by the segmentation of our current customer bases. We can also adjust our sales messaging to match each segment's pain points. So if you have enough quantitative data to match to somebody coming in based on their persona, you can now tailor that sales approach to increase your conversions. And then simply from a customer success and retention standpoint, we want to prioritize our at-risk customers in order to reduce churn and increase retention. Now, a few things that we've seen in customer segmentation studies is that you can very quickly over-segment into too many groups. Let's start by just sticking to maybe 3 or 5 different segments in order to drive different strategies. If you start segmenting too far, it can really create a challenging, actionable plan to move forward with. We also see that segmentation can be done inconsistently across departments. So we want to make sure that our marketing team, our sales team, our customer success team are all using a shared segmentation framework. And that allows the company to then go to market and then serve new customers in a really comprehensive manner. The last thing we see here is that businesses will often fail to update segments as customer behavior evolves. We know that over a period of time, your customers will evolve their usage of their product, or they will evolve their purchasing habits based on macroeconomic trends. We really want to be regularly refreshing this data set so we can feed that back to the shared segmentation group of our sales, of our marketing, of our customer success to continue to drive new and better actions for the business. So if we can recap here, we want to move beyond personas into quantitative customer-based segmentation. We want to clearly define our customer cohorts based on real behaviors and real attributes, and then use that customer segmentation insight across marketing, sales, and customer success to drive retention. So if I can encourage you to start by auditing your customer data, start defining clear segments, and then start to use these insights to personalize marketing, personalize sales efforts, personalize your customer's experience on your platform, I can assure you that that will drive your retention as you move forward here in 2025. So I hope that's a helpful overview on how to think about customer segmentation, improving your retention, and building a more profitable and sustainable business in 2025. Thanks for tuning into DataFuel. We hope today's insights help fuel your SMB's growth. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review the podcast so we can keep bringing you more data-driven strategies. Till next time, keep fueling your business with data.